Story 1. Am I the asshole for announcing our pregnancy at my brother's wedding after he proposed at mine? My brother said he was going to propose at my wedding. I told him no, that it was a day about myself and my wife and we did not want any distractions. My mom lost her shit. She said that he wanted family he might not see again for a while to be a part of the proposal. I said I did not give a shit and that if he did it I would have him kicked out. He did it. And my mom said if I tried kicking him out she would leave too. I just remember seething inside. My brother got married last weekend. Instead of a welcome to the family toast, I used the time to announce that we were expecting our first baby. My mom was upset, but my grandmother told her to sit down and shut up. We spent most of the reception talking to family we would not see again for a while about our coming baby. My mom says I was an asshole for taking attention away from my brother on his wedding day. She got really mad when I reminded her that she threatened to leave my wedding if I kicked him out after he proposed. I have the screen cap of the text messages. Update 1. Okay. So, some bad news and some amazing news. Bad news, my brother figured out that we weren't really pregnant at his wedding and he is livid. As is his wife. I don't really care, I know it's childish, but he started it. The amazing news. We are pregnant for real. We were pregnant at the wedding, but we didn't know. Thanks again for validating my immature and vengeful nature. I guess I have to grow up now. Sorry for the short post, but I'm so excited I almost didn't post at all. Update 2. So for any of you that may still be interested, we had our daughter today. Both my wife and daughter are doing well. 9 pounds 7 ounces, all 10 toes and all 10 fingers. My brother and sister-in-law are still pissed. My grandmother was the first one besides my wife and I to hold Emily Ann. In my opinion, he's not an asshole. What do you think? Comment below.
Story 2. AITAH, for refusing to let my cousin into my house after he stole $2,000 worth of games from me when he was a teenager. 10 years ago, I let my cousin into my house when he was 16. Every one of my video games he handled that day was missing the next day. He took the discs from the cases and who knows what happened to the discs after that. Some of those games were rare and out of print. As soon as my mother found out I told his father, my uncle, about this, she called my uncle up and told him that because I was a diagnosed Aspie, I did not really know my cousin stole the games from me. My cousin got away with stealing from me because of that. My mother later admitted she knew she lied to my uncle because she was worried that my cousin being grounded all summer would be bad for his mental health. Now I have a house and I refuse to let this cousin into it until he apologizes for stealing from me. My family is telling me I am being childish because he was a child when he stole from me, but I think he learned it was safe to steal from me thanks to my mother's intervention. How should I handle this?
In my opinion, he's not an asshole. What do you think? Comment below.
Story 3. AITAH for sleeping with my ex-husband? I, 30F, married my ex-husband Ryan, 30M, very young. We were 20 when we got married and we were together since 14. We divorced 2 years ago because we faced fertility issues and I got depressed and no amount of counseling helped us. I made our lives pretty miserable, so I decided it's time for a divorce. After the divorce, we kept in touch. He was always checking in. He was worried about my mental health, but I was doing better. The constant reminder that I'm letting him down, that my body can't give him a child, was gone. Although that was always only in my head, because he never made me feel that way. My close friend got wind of this and pushed to cut all contact. That it's not healthy, and this way we won't be able to move on. But the thing is, Ryan was also my best friend and I missed him. On her insistence, I wrote Ryan that we shouldn't keep in touch anymore. He was upset but said he understood. There was no contact between us for almost a year, but I run into him in a grocery store. When he spotted me, a huge smile lit up his face and he rushed to me and gave me the biggest bear hug. It felt really great. We chatted for a bit and he asked to get coffee with him and I agreed. Ryan asked me how I'm doing, that he was worried about me this whole time, but he respected that I don't want to speak to him, so he didn't reach out. I told him that I'm doing great, that I really needed this time to focus only on myself, that I learned to accept that motherhood is not in the cards for me. He was also attending therapy because he struggled without me, but also made peace that in order for me to get better, he needed to let me go. We decided we will check with our therapists if they think it's a good idea to keep in touch. My therapist said that if I didn't have any negative feelings while being with Ryan, she doesn't see a reason why we couldn't keep in touch. His therapist said the same thing, but we should be careful and communicate well, so we don't lose the progress we both made. So we started to hang out occasionally, and it was great. It felt good to have him back in my life without any pressure. Months after hanging out, we were watching a movie at my place, and he kissed me and I kissed him back. We slept together that night. When we woke up, we talked what this means and we decided we won't put any pressure on us and just do what feels good. So we kept meeting, we talked a lot about everything, our expectations in life, we also talked about reconciliation, but mostly we had fun and enjoyed each other. One of our mutual friends saw us holding hands in town, and he told our whole friend group. My friend, who advised me to cut contact with Ryan, came that evening to my place and started yelling at me that I'm ruining Ryan's life, that this way he will never move on. She asked if I'm sleeping with him. When I replied yes, she told me to leave him alone and stop being a selfish bee. I tried to reason with her, but she just told me to shut up and left. I called Ryan right after she left and told him what happened and asked him if he wanted to move on. He said that absolutely not, that we are not hurting anyone, there are no ex-partners, no children involved, and we both made a huge progress, and if we want to be together, it's nobody's business. So now I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong, if she is right and it would be the best if I let Ryan move on with someone else. Update 1. As many of you asked why I divorced Ryan, I thought I will give you an explanation. We struggled with fertility for 5 years. After 2 rounds of failed IVF, we checked our options to adopt. We had a mortgage, student loans and loans which we took out for the IVF, so we were not good candidates for adoption. Every month when I got my period, I had a mental breakdown and Ryan suffered because he didn't know how to help me. We went to couples therapy for 2 years, but it didn't help. I was obsessive with my behavior and Ryan was afraid to touch me anymore because any intimacy meant hope. All the joy from our lives was gone and I decided to end our misery. We loved each other still, but when your mind is against you, sometimes you need to do something drastic to get better. Now we are both happy again and enjoying life without any pressure. And as we both concentrated on our careers in the last 2 years, we are also financially much better. So maybe one day we will have a chance to adopt, but if not, I will be happy anyway with only Ryan by my side. As for my friend, I sent her a message that I'm willing to give her a chance to explain herself, but if she is not interested, I will be cutting her out of my life. So far, she didn't reply. Update 2. For those who were curious if my now former friend contacted me, here's the update. She did contact me a week after I wrote her. She asked if we could meet in a park near my place, so I agreed. The talk didn't go well. She didn't come to apologize, but to tell me Ryan deserves better, and she will steal him from me because she will love him right. She told me she fell in love with him years ago, and now is her time. I just laughed in her face and walked away. She kept screaming obscenities at me, but I didn't care. I was done with her. Later in the evening, Ryan came over and I told him everything. He just shook his head and said he hopes she won't start stalking him or something. I gave him her number so he can block it, and she was also blocked from all our social media. We also decided to make our relationship official so we don't just hang out anymore. He is my boyfriend. I feel like a teenager again and couldn't be happier.
In my opinion, she is not an asshole. What do you think? Comment below.
Story 4. AITAH for being honest when pushed why I wasn't going to my daughter-in-law's art show. My daughter-in-law, 29, does contemporary art. I don't know how to explain. It's more abstract than anything, and I suggest a Google. I don't like the art style, but that's my own opinion on it. Like one piece with just be colors on a canvas, and it has a deep meaning. I don't get it. She submitted some stuff to the local art show and got in. So this Friday it is supposed to happen, and the whole family was invited. The tickets to get in are $30. Personally, I would rather spend that money on other thing. Not to mention that I don't like the art style, so it will be a full day of bullshitting what I like about the art. It sounds miserable, so I declined saying I had another event. She gave me a call asking me to reconsider. My response was no, and I have plans. That's when she told me I have to go. I reiterate what I said before. She started to argue with me not going. I kept saying I have plan, and she kept accusing me on not liking her art. After the 3rd time, she said that I snapped and told her yes. I don't like her art, and I think it is a waste of money to go. She called me a jerk and hung up.
In my opinion, everyone is an asshole. What do you think? Comment below. Subscribe for more interesting stories.